Hello, Lunchtime listeners! In 2011, I bought a clavichord from German clavichord maker Martin Kather. He's here with us today to talk about his work. Thank you, Martin. Martin, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, of course. It's in 1988 that I moved to Belgium and worked with Jean Tounet, who was actually one of the first clavichord makers in Europe. Clavichord because he changed from harpsichord to clavichord, decided in 1989 to just do clavichords. So I did harpsichords at his workshop and clavichords. And I stayed 5 years at his place. And I must say, actually, all the credit for clavichord making goes to him. And I learned a lot at his shop. And we did 15 clavichords. So before doing my own instruments, I had a lot of occasions to learn and to be apprentice before I moved to Paris later to work with David Lay from Colorado, then back to harpsichord and do more French style harpsichords.
Very cool. Well, thanks for joining us today. I'm sure that our listeners will be very excited to learn more about clavichords, which probably nobody has heard live before who's listening. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Monica.
How did you come to study the Tannenberg clavichord and uh, replicate it?
That was already in Belgium at Jean Tonnet's place.
Hmm.
He got the paper that was published in 86 in the organ yearbook in America, actually the first time, because Tannenberg lived in America. And Jean Tonnet found this paper in 1990 and found it very interesting because this is the first existing written paper in German how to make a clavichord. And there was a small paper, a small piece, a small drawing to show how you make it. And we took this text and took the paper, the drawing, and made a clavichord. And it turned out so nice and beautifully. And people bought it like this. So we made right away 4 Tannenbergs that were sold pretty fast. And then we decided to do bigger Tannenbergs because Tannenberg gave the opportunity to make them longer or bigger according to the wish of the customer. So there was actually much freedom to do a Tannenberg clavichord, and it's very interesting for a maker to have this freedom not to be fixed on this copy to do exactly like the old instrument that's there, that you have to copy the same dimensions,
Hmm.
but to have just this drawing. Yeah.
Do you know how he ended up in Pennsylvania making clavichords?
Tannenberg was from the Moravian church and he was actually sent to America on a boat. And as it was at that time, he was on the boat. They gave him a wife, and he was an organ maker trained by Clem in Dresden,
Hmm.
and he did what he was supposed to do: have children and make the organs and clavichords. Um, he probably did this drawing and the paper to give it to friends to make their own clavichords because he had too much work to maintain the organ, to build organ.
Hmm.
So he could not do all the clavichords for all the people there. So we are actually in the same position as those people in the old days. They got the paper from Tannenberg and they had to deal with it. And that's what we did also.
Hmm. Sounds like an incredible time, actually. Being able to transmit information through papers and have people build their own instruments sounds crazy today.
Yeah, it is. It still is.
Can you tell us a little bit about the advantages of clavichords over other instruments?
Well, the thing that a clavichord can do best maybe is tell stories. I always explain to people what is the advantage, and if I have 4 children, and when you tell a story for to go to bed, you always tell on a low voice, and you tell it softly and gently. And that is the range a clavichord speaks. It's like a person who tells a story to a child, and it's actually the softer you speak, the more interesting gets the story. And a modern piano cannot, to my opinion, cannot do that, because if you play fast on a piano, you cannot play, well, you can pretend to play piano, but compared to a clavichord, it still is loud. And maybe that's also a good advice to people. If you really want to hear nice stories, then listen to a clavichord.
Yes, it's a wonderfully intimate instrument. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Martin. It was a pleasure to talk to you and learn more about your instrument making.
And thank you, Monica, for inviting me and letting me show my clavichord. And I hope to hear you play.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.